Hi, and welcome back to Pint-Sized Guilt-Free Torah. So we all know the story. Pharaoh said, if a boy is born, throw him into the river. Amram, one of the great leaders, said, if that's the case, they're going to practice infanticide. Why bring children into the world? If it's a boy, he's going to be murdered anyway. So he separated from his wife, and other people followed suit. And then they separated because Amram was such a great leader. Miriam, who ultimately will be Moses' sister, she's a little girl. And she says to her father, you are worse than Pharaoh. He makes a decree that if a boy is born, he'll be cast into the river. But you're making a decree against anyone. No girls will be born either. You're worse than Pharaoh. You're making a much more severe decree. Amram listened to his words. He got back together with his wife, Yocheved, and ultimately Moses was born out of that union. That means, as a result of Miriam, a little girl who gave advice to her father, one of the great leaders of the generation, Moses was born and the entire Jewish people were born. When you think that a leader of the generation, a great man, listens to the advice of a little girl, normally you'd say, he'd pinch your cheek, oh, Ziskite, listen, sweetie, you don't understand. Daddy meets with some of the other leaders. There's a lot of bigger stuff going on here. When you get older, you'll understand. No, he heard something good. He heard something that makes sense. He heard where he had made an error. He heard words of rebuke from a little girl. And he took it, the sign of a great man. And after he did, everybody else did. And what's fascinating is that this one incident, as a result of it, we have Moses. But then we have another incident when the daughter of Pharaoh, Batya Bas Pharaoh, goes out and is bathing, and then she rescues Moses. You have to understand, this is like Hitler's daughter rescuing a Jew. So once again, we have another woman to thank for the story of the Jewish people. Then later on, or I should say earlier on, during all these harsh decrees, the men didn't want to be together with their wives. They said, what's this all worth it for what? To be slaves or to be tossed into the river if they're boys? But the women had hope, and the women decorated themselves and made themselves really look beautiful and basically seduced their husbands. And therefore, there were more children. So you have these amazing women who, as a result of these women, we have the Jewish people today. And as I always mention to people, whatever your level of belief is, whatever your level of practice is in Judaism, you have to admit it's pretty remarkable if a really clever guy would have written the Bible, if it's not a divine document, thousands of years ago, to have women at the pivotal part of the story, that without women, this couldn't have happened. In the ancient world, what place did women have? Certainly not to be the heroes, the heroines of the story. And here we have Miriam telling her father something and her father listening. So we see his greatness. Miriam saw hope. We saw the midwives also, which we haven't mentioned. The midwives didn't listen to Pharaoh, and they continued to help women give birth and not kill the boys. So we have the daughter of Pharaoh, we have Miriam, we have the wives, we have the midwives. These are the people we have to thank for the fact that we have a Jewish people today. And it's hope, the one thing that we all need in life. That hope was never lost by the women. The men, it seems, lost it, even great men, but not women. Miriam for the youngest aged, till the midwives, till everyone else. And what a great lesson this is for us. Number one, never, ever lose hope. Number two, to realize there seems to be something intrinsic in women, a certain power women have that men don't have. We see this through Esther. We see this through so many incidents in our Tanakh, in our Bible, where women have retained hope when men lost it. And it's something, an intrinsic beauty that they have, and something that they continue to share with the Jewish people. And without that hope, without the tremendous power of the Jewish women, we wouldn't be here today. The whole story begins with the hope of women, and our history continues with that hope. Everyone should have a wonderful Shabbos, and never give up hope on the Jewish people, even in these most trying times.